You might think you know every block in Minecraft and what it does, but I guarantee you don't. Today we'll be looking at 42 secret items in Minecraft that Mojang have hidden from players. Petrified oak slabs. Now these slabs are no longer scared, they are petrified. I can't wait to showcase these because I remember them back in 2012 on Xbox Legacy Edition, finding them for the first time like it was yesterday. And somehow they're still in the game today. Not even hidden away either, they're literally still in the creative menu. So what's the difference between oak slabs and petrified slabs? Well, oak slabs are mined with an axe, as you'd expect, but petrified slabs are mined with a pickaxe. Let me explain. Okay, so way back in version 1.3.1, oak slabs were added to the game, but the developers coded them in with the same properties as cobblestone slabs, meaning you would have to mine them with a pickaxe. But that's not the only trait they took. Just like cobble, these slabs do not burn at all, they can't be used as fuel in a furnace, and just like cobblestone, they have a greater blast resistance. To be honest, I'm glad Mojang kept these in the game. Knowledge book. This can only be obtained via commands and cannot be gathered in survival. It looks very similar to a standard book in Minecraft, except the knowledge book falls under a certain category called utility items, and its sole purpose is to reveal crafting recipes to players when used. For example, if you was curious about buckets and flower pots, but you didn't know how to craft them, you could use this command. Once used, the book will vanish from the player's inventory and the recipe will be learnt. Now you might be thinking, well, what's the point in this when you can just go into the crafting menu and do this? Well, this book actually came out in 1.13 and it's especially useful to map makers in conjunction with this game rule right here. And that's because any item is only craftable when the recipe is unlocked first. Structure blocks. These very alien-like looking blocks are used to generate structures manually, and they can also save and load structures too. You can obtain these either by commands or in the creative menu on Java, and when placed you can use the structure block GUI. So you can build a house, a village, a storage room, and as long as the structure is smaller than 64 by 384 by 64 blocks, you can place the structure blocks and create a bounding box which will save the build. You can give the build its own name and then use the structure block to load it in a new location. Barrier block. Now, you may have actually seen this one before, either in game or on YouTube, but in short, this red block turns invisible and creates solid boundaries. You can access this by commands or in the creative menu on Java, and barrier blocks are mainly used to build an impenetrable barrier that cannot be broken in survival mode. For example, if a creator is creating an adventure map, barrier blocks will be invisible blocks that will stop you from wandering the wrong way. Nothing can get through these blocks, and in fact they are the most resistant block in the whole of Minecraft. If you enjoyed this video or you've already learned something new, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Debug stick. This enchanted looking stick is one of the more fun items in the game that allows players to get creative and edit block states. Once again, you can obtain this through commands or either the creative menu, and hitting blocks allows players to select the block state key they wish to change. For example, switching between condition and facing block states. Using the debug stick, you can cycle through directions. You can make a block face up, down, northeast, southwest. You can also change properties of blocks. For example, change how walls and fences connect with neighbouring blocks. You can set powered rail to always be powered, create floating ladders or rails, and you can even make glitch blocks like pistons without the head, or even these weird beds. Giant. This really big zombie is actually exclusively only on Java Edition and can be spawned by /summon Minecraft Giant. Now, giants are close to 12 blocks tall and it uses a 6-time enlarged zombie model. Because giants are not actually undead, they don't actually burn in the sunlight and are damaged by potions of harming. Giants also don't convert into drown like regular zombies do when submerged. They slowly suffocate and simply die. Now, although giants were added at the end of 2009 in version 0.31 for Java InDev, they still have no AI. This means they will always face south when summoned, and they will always stay that way, never wandering. A mob as old as time, never altered, hidden away in the Minecraft code. Sad really. Border blocks. I'll keep this one short because these orange walls are essentially the equivalent of barrier blocks on Java. They're actually exclusive to Bedrock and Educational Edition. They work pretty much the same as barrier blocks except the Ender Dragon is allowed to pass through them. Lab table. Now this is an interesting one because it's exclusive to Bedrock Edition only when education mode is enabled. This block is used in chemistry to design experiments by combining substances and observing the results. Using the lab table opens a 1x9 grid where elements and compounds can be inserted to perform experiments. When ready to conduct an experiment, clicking the combine button initiates the process. And here's some of the successful recipes and the new blocks and items you get to create. Allow and deny. These two blocks here are known as the allow and deny blocks and are used to create restricted building areas where users can build or can't build, and they can only be found on Bedrock and Educational Edition. When placed, allow blocks let players in adventure mode place or destroy blocks in the area, whilst deny blocks prohibit players in survival and even in creative from placing or destroying blocks. Light blocks. These blocks are similar to barrier blocks in the way they act when invisible, as they cannot be seen once placed. These are primarily intended for map makers and can produce a light level from 0 to 15. Light blocks have a hitbox only when a player is holding the item in their main hand. When pressing use on a light block, while it's selected in the main hand, the light level of the block increases by 1 and goes all the way up to 15 and then resets at 0. Fun fact, this is the only block in Minecraft that can produce a light level of 8. Gear. These cog looking blocks are actually no longer in the game. You see, they were added in version 0.31 in 2010, but didn't actually make it to the Minecraft alpha. The gear was a block that could be placed on walls or on the ground, but had no clearly defined or implemented functionality. It is believed that gears were intended to be used in mechanics similar to redstone wire, but I guess we'll never know. Jigsaw blocks. These are technical blocks used in the generation of some structures and are obtained by commands or the creative menu. Jigsaw blocks are function blocks that allow the game to construct structures out of smaller templates. For example, these blocks are used to generate pillager outposts, villagers, bastion remnants, ruin portals, and ancient cities, whereas mineshafts and dungeons, for example, are actually hard-coded into the game. Command block in minecart. This unusual looking thing is a hybrid crossover between a command block and a minecart, and combines the functionality of both blocks. Although the minecart visually contains an impulse command block, it functions more similar to a repeating command block and runs its command once every 4 game ticks while on an active activator rail. When it passes over a detector rail with a comparator connected to it, it outputs the command block's results. Structure void. This bad boy is an invisible block that allows existing blocks to remain unchanged rather than to be overridden when using the structure block to load a structure. Structure blocks can be placed as part of a structure and are ignored when the structure file is saved. This results in the blocks at the location where the structure is being placed to be overridden. For example, if you save a 2-block high structure with air at the top and a structure void at the bottom, and load it into a 2 high area of stone, the top block becomes air, but the bottom block will become stone. Heads. There are currently 6 heads in the game, but with the 1.20 update there will be 7 as piglin heads will be added to the list. There's human, zombie, skeleton, wither skeleton, creeper, piglin, and dragon heads. Dragon heads generate in the end cities, skeleton heads generate in ancient cities in the deep dark, wither skeletons have a 2.5% chance of dropping its head, and they can all be obtained if killed by a charged creeper. These can be used in mob spawning, banner patterns, fireworks, and they're also all wearable. Also, the dragon head does this when powered for some reason. Human heads can be given NBT data, so that they appear with the skin of any Minecraft account, which can be great for decoration. Illusioner. This is a secret mob that I'm actually already covered in this video here, so instead of explaining again, I'll see you in this video.